r/AskReddit. Anesthesiologists, what are the best things people have said under the gas? Happened today. Patient has a broken ankle fixed and was coming out of anesthesia when he was being wheeled out. The anesthesiologist accidentally hit the door frame on the way out. Patient, did you just do surgery on my leg? Anesthesiologist, yes, you had surgery and are waking up from it. Patient, then why are you running into things? Not an anesthesiologist, but was a tech. Had a patient wake up violently. When he came to, he said, "Sorry, I thought I was a shark." Not an anesthesiologist, but my tight-laced, extremely Christian great-grandma apparently asked who the fuck is that ugly son of a bitch while she was waking up from a surgery. The person she was referring to? Her preacher who stopped by to check up on her. She never lived that one down. The story was even told at her funeral. She was kinda strict, but she was a great lady with a great sense of humor. My wife is an anesthesiologist. When she was in fellowship, she had a patient say they saw dicks dripping off the ceiling. Ketamine infusion. My anesthesiologist tried to calm me down with a joke when I was a little kid being put under. My mom later told me about how I apparently commented on the joke being not at all funny and how I hoped he was more talented as a doctor. My fiancé and I had broken up within the last week and was still dealing with that horribly. I was on pain meds for my shoulder and was scheduled for surgery in the current week. The day of the surgery, I was to get a nerve block. The anesthesiologist was the one performing the nerve block. He and I were chit-chatting, and he was just a really comforting person. He was telling me about everything that was going to go on during the surgery. Then we were just chit-chatting about life when the topic of the breakup came up. He was even comforting with that. So after that, I was wheeled into surgery. He was there to put me under, which for some reason put me at great ease. As I was going under, I guess I started talking through the mask and he lifted the mask to hear what I was trying to say. When I boldly stated I still love you while holding direct eye contact with him, I didn't know I did it. Not until he visited me in recovery. He said thanks for the nickname, then told me what I said. I guess the entire surgical staff referred to him by my fiancé's name for the duration of the surgery. So not only did I call this poor guy a woman's name that stuck with him for the duration for the surgery, I stated how much I loved him to boot. When I went back for the second surgery, guess who my anesthesiologist was? Regardless of my foul ups, he is an awesome anesthesiologist and really good at his job. I was coming out of general anesthesia after a surgery to repair a broken leg. I woke up in my room with about a dozen very caring, kind friends and relatives who had all come to see that I was okay. I looked around, saw everyone giving shits about me, said, "Fuck this" loudly and very clearly, and went right back to sleep. My friends thought it was hilarious. My mom was mortified. I was about to be put under for a colonoscopy while the nurse was trying to position me in a way to make it easiest for them to work. I had my knees to my chest and was passing out from the gas when I asked the nurse to paint me like one of her French girls, then passed out. Still makes me cringe. I'm an anesthetist, so I hear pretty funny things daily, but one sticks out. After a routine surgery, we are wheeling the patient out of the room and the stretcher gets caught on a wire, a common occurrence. Well, I look under and ask the nurse, "What are we on?" And the patient replies super loudly, "I dunno, but it's fucking awesome." Made me chuckle. When I was about to go out for surgery, they were strapping me down and told me it was so that I don't fall off the table. My last words were, "It's okay, 5-second rule." Not an anesthesiologist, but when my stepdad was going under for a surgery, he was almost out, but at a sweet point that the doctor told my mom she could ask him anything and he wouldn't be able to help but answer truthfully. She asked, "Do you love me?" My stepdad replied, "You need to go on and get your little Yoda shoes." I'm pretty sure Yoda doesn't even wear shoes. Two of my fav, both patients coming out of anesthesia. Am I in hell? I responded, "No, you're not. You're just in recovery." That sounds like something the devil would say. Count backwards from 100 to prove it. Or the one who stroked my unshaved arm while I was trying to keep him from pulling at his fourth and muttered, "You'd make such a great carpet." Eater. Yikes, you people really like hairy arm carpets. In high school I had a reconstructive surgery on my knee as I tore my ACL and meniscus in a sports injury. After the surgery I woke up in post-op, which was a fairly large room with probably 6 to 7 other patients in beds waiting to become conscious again. I was lying there all groggy and confused when 2 nurses walked over pushing one of those carts with a computer on it. They stood over me and were typing into the computer when one nurse said to the other in a sort of frantic whisper, "We've got to plug this thing in or this one is going to die." Naturally, semi-conscious me thought that the thing was me and I started to incoherently yell for the nurses to unplug whatever they needed to in order to find an outlet to keep me alive. Turns out it was the battery on the laptop that was going to die. Apparently the death rate for an ACL repair is pretty low. My husband went under last year, and once he woke up, by our appearances he was as sober as a church mouse. Walking, asking serious questions of the doctor, apparently no issues at all. He remembered the procedure and described it to me in detail. I figured he just never went completely under. He was craving Chinese food, and nothing would do except for buffet, so we headed down and loaded up our first load of plates. Evidently, he actually woke up from the anesthesia at the buffet. As far as he remembers, he was put under and woke up in front of a plate of chicken teriyaki on a stick. I had a similar incident with a concussion 14-year-old trying to impress friends at summer camp on the first day. Jumped over a picnic bench, cleared it easily. Didn't see that there was a rock the size of a 2 fists where I landed. Ended up tripping over that and slammed my head on the dirt. Got up immediately, played it off like nothing happened. Since I landed on dirt I didn't have too bad of a scrape. Ended up chatting with everyone. Jumped the picnic bench again, since I was mad at what happened. Walked a girl to her cabin and told her I liked her. Walked to my cabin, grabbed my toiletries. Went to the bathroom, took a shower. This is when I woke up. Had everything explained to me after. Also, showered with my shirt and socks on. Forgot those. Same. Fell from a tree when I was 10. Got up and went on with my shenanigans for hours, gathering nuts and stuff. Eventually woke up in front of the TV, confused as fuck, wondering why there's nuts in my pocket. I slowly started remembering everything. My friend also told me I talked to a girl I liked. We weren't friends or anything, so I wouldn't normally do that. But that one I didn't remember, so I think he was just messing with me. I have a few. My first is a 17-year-old that just got her appendix out. She seemed really stoic and introverted when I first interviewed her, but when I was dropping her in the recovery room she went into total bro mode. She keeps saying everything was fucking lit. She keeps saying let's party bro, and responded to every question with a fuck yeah dude. My favorite though was a surgery on a lady in her 80s. She volunteered at the hospital and was a widow. In the recovery room I started hooking up her ECG. This involves attaching some cables to stickers on her up chest. When I reached for them, she tried to just pull her gown down and show me her breasts. I said no, you don't need to do that. She just said this is so exciting, it's been a while since I've been with a man. The nurse just started laughing and I got a little red. She then said it's sure getting hot in here. Sorry, it's been a while. I had to leave after that. I was way too uncomfortable. I'm a CNA, female, in my 50s. I was assisting a lady in her 90s who needed 2 people to help her up. My co-worker was a very young and easily embarrassed dude. In reaching for the gate belt, I pinched this poor woman's nipple and she yelped. I apologized profusely. That's okay, it's not like they haven't been pinched before. She replied happily, and my co-worker almost fainted in horror. My wife couldn't take me for my first colonoscopy due to work, so my mother did, and apparently coming out of anesthesia when they were removing my 4th, I told the nurse, "Oh, that's neat. I've taken a lot of those out, but I've never had it done to me, and my patients are always dead." Apparently she looked very concerned by this information, and my mother had to explain that I've been a licensed funeral director for many years and hospitals and other facilities often do not remove tubing. Apparently I then followed that up by telling the young nurse she had a nice butt, but not as nice as my wife's. My mother felt free to share that with everyone. So yeah, I creeped out a nurse by talking about my occupation and then even more by commenting on her, but in a backhanded compliment. Edit. Thank you for the silver. I was also briefly a mortuary student and got my wisdom teeth out immediately before I was to set off for my embalming practicals. Like I flew out the very next day. So I'm in the doctor's with my mom, who is asking if I can still fly right after surgery and should I be away for 14 days right afterward. Before the dentist even has a second to respond, I just yelled at the top of my lungs, "You can't keep me away, my dead people need me, you're not the boss of me." Then passed right on out. Not. I'd love it if you liked and subscribed.